A member of the Senate Judiciary Committee. You interviewed Donald Trump Jr. in September 2017, and in a letter to the chairman, you said, quote, Donald Trump Jr. provided, quote, false testimony, and you also want him to testify. Where does this go from here? Does the House Democrats support what you've been calling for?
Well, Ari, first, obviously, with the change in control in the House, there now is a Judiciary Committee run by Democrats with subpoena power that will be able to follow up on some of the very concerning evidence that a number of the folks who were interviewed over here by the Senate Judiciary Committee may have been untruthful. There's also, I think, been another positive development today in that Senator Graham and Senator Tillis, Senator Booker and I have reintroduced our bill to protect Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Senator Graham is now the chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He was a co-sponsor of this bill in the last Congress. He voted for it. And so I'm optimistic that we'll get it out of committee here in the Senate fairly quickly, and that at the House Judiciary Committee, now chaired by a Democrat, will also take this up quickly and move it. Chairman Jerry Nadler has said it's one of his top priorities. I'm hopeful we'll be able to protect Robert Mueller through that vehicle.
Who are your Republican colleagues that you think you can get on that, and any new ones that would help? Would Mitt Romney support you there?
I don't know that yet. He is going to be joining the Judiciary Committee. We are meeting this week to talk about it. Obviously, my friend and former colleague, Senator Jeff Flake, was not just a supporter of the bill, he voted for it in committee, but he came to the floor several times in the last weeks of last Congress, and he blocked 23 Republican judicial nominees in order to try and force a vote. I will need to find new supporters and co-sponsors for this to get through the Senate. But frankly, at the end of the day, the real problem has been Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who has steadfastly refused to bring it to a vote.
How does all this relate to, of course, the bigger question than a protection bill, which is what Bill Barr, who you'll be questioning, what kind of attorney general he would be? I just had a U.S. attorney on, David Kelly, I'm sure you're familiar with his work,
Sure.
who said basically he has a lot of respect for Mr. Barr as a lawyer and his service in the DOJ, but has concerns, of course, about whether he's prejudged this entire probe.
I do have concerns about some of his statements, his unsolicited memo that he sent in suggesting that Mueller shouldn't be able to investigate obstruction of justice by President Trump. His role in the pardoning of a number of senior Reagan administration officials after the Iran-Contra investigation, where, I'll remind you, a number of folks like Ollie North, Caspar Weinberger, former Secretary of Defense, were found responsible for either lying to Congress or for other misdeeds. He was centrally involved in those pardons. And he's made a number of statements, both publicly and in that memo, that really concern me in terms of his view of the ongoing investigation by Robert Mueller. It'll be critical to me to hear whether Bill Barr next week in his confirmation hearings for Attorney General will make a commitment that he will protect the independence of the Mueller investigation and would refuse to fire him or would resign if ordered to fire him without good cause.
If he doesn't make that kind of commitment under oath in the hearing, would that change your vote?
It'd be very difficult for me to support an attorney general who wouldn't make a strong and clear commitment to the independence of the Mueller investigation.
And briefly, in a sentence or two, when will the government reopen?
We have no idea. That's really up to President Trump at this point. As you know, near the end of last year, every senator, Republican and Democrat, unanimously voted for a package that would have kept the government open. It was President Trump who said he'd be proud to shut it. Just today, there was another attempt at negotiation at the White House where he apparently stormed out. So there are pathways out of this, but the president needs to hear yes. Friday, we're going to have 800,000 federal employees and their families miss a paycheck, and I think that's going to really increase the pressure on senators and House members to do what needs to be done here. So I expect you'll start seeing folks break ranks.
Yeah, and we're headed towards what could be the longest shutdown in American history under Donald Trump, as you say. Senator Coons, very busy day. Thanks for making time on the beat.
Sure. Thank you, Rick.
Appreciate it, sir. Up ahead, the fight.